Okay, hello everybody. This is quite the opportunity today. I've been listening in, and I think that made me more nervous than less. I thought we might get some ideas from people, but there's some pretty amazing author takeovers. So it's been an amazing day so far. So thanks to Skylar and Sunny for putting this on. So yeah, I'm Andrea Todd. That is my pen name, and really, I'm hoping that this can be interactive with the readers. So, maybe we need to relabel them as reader takeovers in
Mm.
terms of how we interact and engage together. So that's kind of my objective of today. I wanted to share a book giveaway. My first book came out last November. I'm struggling to fit into a genre, so I call it spicy romance with a side of cheese. It's called Finding Balance. And so what I'm going to do is put a link in the chat. And so if you want to get your name in the draw for a free book and some prizes. So there's a theme in the book um, about dragonflies. And so I found these kind of cute little dragonfly pins that actually kind of work good as a bookmark. So you'll get a copy of my book, signed book, and also a couple little dragonfly themed little paraphernalia, I guess you could call it, as a giveaway. So that's part of my author takeover. I just wanted to make sure I got that in the chat so I didn't forget about it. I think it's if somebody had told me 3 years ago I would be sitting in an author takeover, I would have probably not believed them. When I started writing that book, I started in like 2000. And really, I just wrote it because it wouldn't stop um, pestering me in my mind. And I needed to write it down. And so it just kind of came to me. I didn't really have a structure to my process. And it just kind of flowed out. I didn't really expect there to be any spicy stuff in it when I started writing it, but that just kind of came as part of my process of writing that book. And so it was interesting because it really wasn't. I didn't ever anticipate that I would consider myself an author, and I still struggle to say that for sure. But I've met some really amazing people through the writing community on Twitter that have, encouraged that process for me. And so I'm currently writing, we're in the process of editing my second book, which I'm hoping will be released on November 1st. It's kind of an anniversary release of my first book, Finding Balance. So that has been my journey. I think, if I hadn't kind of connected with people on Twitter and that writing community, I wouldn't have had some of the opportunities I've had, like to write with Ranch and Logan in a kind of combined effort, um, and also just the opportunity to put it into print. I think probably once I had written it, I would have just shelved it had I not kind of piqued some interest as to the conversation and the learning that happens in Twitter. So there's lots of kind of negative things about Twitter, but I've really had a positive experience in terms of just meeting people. And that's where I found my editor who helped me kind of take that book as a newbie and structure it in a way that worked and flowed better and just made the book that it is today. And I met the person that has done both my book covers on there. And so there's just this great like collaboration that happens that I would have never otherwise had the opportunity to experience it. So a lot of the kind of uh, writing that I do includes little snippets of who I am into each of the characters. I like to write at least a couple characters, different characters, or couple characters, I guess, into my books because I just find it interesting to have the different personalities and how they interact together and how they kind of share their stories. Um, and it's also just kind of the story that I enjoy reading. So that's kind of how they came about. In the last panel, it was interesting just talking about the process and how people, you know, kind of can be uh, inspired by different stories and how that works. And really, for me, like I was just sitting on a meditation chair, a cushion, and that story just kind of came to life. So I really couldn't explain how that process unfolded, except that it wouldn't leave me alone and I had to write it. So that is a background of kind of my experience. I was going to read a little bit from Finding Balance. I just picked as a random page, so we'll see what shows up.
The
So this
meditation
chapter,
page, hopefully.
pardon?
The meditation page, hopefully.
Oh, it's not. I didn't pick that one. We'll have to read that one another time. People have to buy the book, I guess. So this one's called Nate. Nate noticed how beautiful Amelia was from the moment they met. She was feisty and liked to be in control. The way she bossed him around made his dick hard as he tried to imagine that energy in the bedroom. He liked strong, independent women who could match his mind and intellect. In the bedroom, however, Nate wanted them to surrender to him in every possible way. He was curious if Amelia could handle that kind of situation. It was so fucking hot how she liked whiskey and cigars and sassed him with her witty nature. Despite why she was there, it made Nate want to do dirty things to her just to hear her moan and beg for him. He knew James wouldn't have appreciated him thinking about Amelia that way, but she surprised him and challenged him in ways that completely turned him on. Nate respected Amelia's natural desire and ability to be in charge, but he had a feeling he would willingly and completely surrender to his demands if he gave her the safety to let go of her control. So that is a chapter from Finding Balance. So make sure that you fill out, if you want to be in the draw, fill out in the link in the chat. And I'm happy to take any questions if anybody has any that they would like to ask in the chat, or unmute yourself.
So you said you started writing a couple of years ago. What was it that drew you in?
Well, I just kind of happened, to be honest. I was actually I got sick and I was off work, and I was in that recovery where I started kind of spending more time focusing on self-care that allowed for some opportunity for me to do some things that were more for me personally than, taking care of my family and my kids. And so it just kind of sparked a little bit of creativity and imagination that allowed for that to kind of unfold. But I think really it probably started as a result of me meditating and just allowing for that kind of settling to allow us some pause and some just awareness, that ensured that I was taking care of myself in a better way, which then kind of triggered this opportunity to do some writing, and realized that I really enjoyed that process. So yeah, this is the first book. I have three whips on the go as I continue, but given that I also have a full-time job, this becomes kind of an expensive hobby, I would say, because I really don't like the marketing piece of it. It's hard to do that piece. So, but the writing process I really enjoy, and it really kind of gives me a passion to focus on. So yeah.
Do you write anything other than erotica or erotic romance? I'm not sure. Is yours erotica or erotic romance? And
Yeah,
I know the line is
I
fine.
would say there's some spicy romance. I don't know. I'm pretty beginner, I would say, to the erotica world. So yeah. I have written another book not under my pen name. And so it's just kind of evolved over time in terms of this book. Just how it came about was kind of surprised. So but I have continued with it. And I've got a few short stories and stuff, and I'm on Medium with some of the chapters, which has really helped to like set the structure for me in terms of a writing process. Like, so they were talking earlier about the hundos and doing those, on a regular basis to kind of create that consistency. And so I found that Medium has helped with that because I've been publishing like chapters of my books, and then eventually I didn't post the last 6 or so chapters because I wanted to kind of create the surprise of the ending. And so now I'm taking that book, Lessons from a GIF, and putting it into, and getting it edited and then putting it into a format, both on Amazon.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I've commented on some of your Medium posts about your male characters, and you write them really, really well. And I wondered what inspirations you use for that.
I think that it's really just about creating the best in people, understanding that everyone has kind of their strengths and weaknesses, but setting the ideal of who that person's potential could be. And so, you know, sometimes it might not seem very realistic in terms of real life, but it's about kind of demonstrating people's opportunity for growth and potential in who they are and how they show up in the world. Any other questions?
How do you approach your heroines? Are they strong? Are they vulnerable? Are they sassy, sweet?
I really like to encompass all of those things. So I think that there's really some, and really the notion of this finding balance in terms of, and actually that name kind of came to me when I watched, I'm going to forget the movie now. The second one just came out and it's about emotions.
Uh, is it the
Like,
Inside Out?
yeah.
Is it an animated? Okay.
Yeah. And so this idea that we're both, right? Like you need both the joy and the sadness in order to like really um get the most out of that experience, that really joyful experience. And so, you can appreciate kind of that joy if you don't experience those difficult, sad, hard times. And so that's really how I kind of treat my characters is I always want them to have kind of that opportunity to grow throughout the book, but also that they've got both aspects of who they are. They're strong, but they're also, gentle. They're sassy, and they're also, you know, um, shy. And so just having that kind of um, extremes of who we really all are as people and how you can kind of incorporate that into characters. But they're always badass. That's an important piece of my main characters.
Do you model your characters after people you know?
Some of them, yeah. Some of them have little pieces of me in them, and some of them are kind of inspirations from others, or just finding those ideals about who we are as people and how we kind of show up. So yeah, it's a little bit of both, I would say.
I don't want to take up all the time, but I could ask you like a million
I
questions.
love it. Thank you. I'm glad you're asking.
If you kept asking the questions, it goes into your time.
Sorry.
It looks like Peter has a question in the comment.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it.
Let me. He just posted it. Let's see. Wait, I thought I saw it.
Oh yeah, I
Oh.
can share that with you, Peter. I will
Thank
share
you.
my non-pen book with you.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Andrea. We were so happy to have you.
Thank you for having me, and thanks for
Yeah.
putting this all together.
Oh, no, I mean, you were great and fantastic, and I'm sure everybody loved it as much as I enjoyed listening to it.
Thank you.